Welcome to Say It Ain't So Thursday live so long on YouTube. Yay! We are making mermaids today. Check out the guy I made on Tuesday for the Instagram and Facebook live. He is tattooed, sparkly, loving life. He's also got a little bit of silver like glitter in his hair because, you know, he's a silver fox. Merman. There he is in all his glory. Some stitchers who are taking part, some participants named him. One participant thought Timmy was a good name, and another participant thought that Marvin was a good name, and I couldn't decide, so I just chose both. So his first name is double barreled. His name is Timmy Marvin, the merman, the tattooed merman. He's so cool. I love him. So I'm gonna make another merman today because I've got 3 beautiful mermaids that I made previously a while ago. So here's one, here's another, and here's another. And I want my Christmas tree to be absolutely covered in MerPeople. So here we are. They're looking really cute. And then of course we've got the merman as well. And I need to put more glitter on him because he's not as sparkly as these ladies. And it's, hi Susie, how are you doing? It's not as sparkly as the other ones, and I want it to be sparkly, and I think it's the glue that I used. I think I switched my glue supply brand. I'm not impressed by it. I usually use high tack, and I love high tack, and I'm using Aleen's, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. But what I did, I used the clear tacky gel glue for the glitter, and it's just not held the glitter down, and it's actually come off quite a bit. So I'm gonna go back over it, and I'm gonna use, because I've run out of high tack, and I couldn't get any on Amazon, so I've ordered some off eBay. So I'm gonna use this and the actual original tacky glue, and see if that looks any better. So I'm gonna do that right now before we get started. So if you're taking part, then you should have your pattern, and I'm going to invite you right now to get your pattern pieces cut out. Whoops, it's all right. Just checking that I'm live on my tablet. Yeah, amazing. Means I can watch myself and I can see the comments, because the comments fly really fast on my phone, and I can never catch them. It means I can see them here quite easily, and I can also look at myself and make sure that I look okay. Yes, I've not washed my hair, so I've just thrown on this scarf. I'm also in my pajamas, and I've just thrown this jumper on because there's nothing more like cozy and amazing than on a cold November night coming home and just throwing on your jammies and a jumper. And Susie says, I might not have a mermaid pattern, but I have my kit, so I will sew something. Susie, you want to go the Google Drive and go and grab a pattern and print one off? You have plenty of time if you want to go do that. I've put a link up to the Google Drive previously on in the chat, but if you click the description on this video, you'll find the Google Drive link, and you can get the mermaid pattern from there. You're a speedy stitcher, so I'm sure you'll be able to catch up. No bother if you want to go do that now, because I'm going to glue the glitter onto this merman and let it dry. And the glitter that I'm using is bio glitter, biodegradable plant-based glitter by Nomo, and it's Nomo. I quite like how that the pun they use, Nomo glitter. So I'm gonna get my piece of paper. I'm gonna just make a glittery mess to start with. I'm gonna start with a glittery mess, and I'm gonna end. Oh, Susie's printer is borked. Bork. Oh, okay. Well, you can sew whatever you like. Have you got any patterns left in your kit from the old days? Because I'm sure you'll be able to find something that's there. Glue top has just, I need to like put a pin in to open it up again. Nope, Okay, I'm going to recut it. There we go. I almost fell in my glass of water. Oh no. Okay, and I'm gonna just draw on the scales again, and I'm gonna just glitter my mermaid once more, let it dry, and then come back to it at the end and see how it looks. Because I feel like the glue, well, yeah, it's not okay, so I feel like I know that the glue that I used before did not work. And I would much rather use this other different glue. I mean, it's the same brand, but it's a different type of glue, so I'm hoping that it will be a little bit better than it was before. Also, I was chatting for a while after I put the glue down and before I put the glitter on, so I think the glue might have like soaked in to the fabric. So there we have, I've got his scales. I'm just going to throw some glitter on him and then set it to one side. Oh, I just poured so much glitter on. It's okay, because I've got a bit of paper down to catch the excess, so it's all good. Yeah, oh yes, he's gonna look fabulous. Right, amazing. I'll set that to one side. You might have noticed, I'm not sure if you noticed earlier, I don't think I've put it on the Facebook page yet, but I put it on, I certainly posted it on Instagram that I'm back on Patreon with Say It Ain't So. Where's the safest place to put this? Not on the bed. Don't put it on the bed because you will get, you will get glitter on the bed. I'm going to put it, I've got like a little bedside table here that I'm going to put it onto. So yeah, I've started Patreon, Say It Ain't So Patreon again, so share, I'll post a link on the Glasgow and the Edinburgh Say It Ain't So Facebook pages, and I'll also add a link to the description, link on the description underneath this video as well, later on, to the Patreon, because I've got different tiers, a membership level, and I'm thinking that that's the best way that I can support people and also make funds to buy the equipment and the materials that we need to do the classes, to these workshops. So I'm going to cut out my mermaid pattern now. So Susie, what did you decide to get from the kit, or are you just going to sew something like off the top of your head? Are you just going to make something? I'd love to see and know. So the Patreon tiers, I've got like £5, £15, £30. And the £5 one basically means you get access to all of the Say It Ain't So patterns, and then like special videos, which I'm going to be making specially for Patreon. And those videos are going to be like customizing clothes, different types of crafting. I'm not just going to stick to sewing. I'm going to just expand the craft. And I also I'm thinking about inviting different crafters to come on and show me what they do and teach and host little workshops, like online Zoom workshops as well. I know so many amazing crafters who would be fabulous. Susie, if you wanted to, you could come on and teach us embroidery. No mermaid in the kit, so I might hand draw something. My freestyle drawing a mermaid. Ooh, yay, love it. Awesome. If you're on Instagram, are you on Instagram? Yeah, you are. Send me a picture of it or post a picture of it on your stories and tag Say It Ain't So, and it means I can share your picture of your finished mer person. So the Patreon tier, for the £5 tier, you get all access to all of the Say It Ain't So patterns, plus access to Patreon special videos. And my plan is to do like one a month, a speciality video, one a month, which will be like interviewing or learning different crafts from different crafters, because obviously I know a lot of crafts, but there's many that I don't know. I've got people who are into who do embroidery. I know people who do like Fimo crafts with polymer clay. I know people who do like glass painting and ceramics. Oh, it's going to be so good. And then of course I would love to do more dressmaking classes as well. And the plan is to do these for Patreon, and then do like a little sneaky snippet of them to post on YouTube so people can get like a kind of general idea of it, but if they want to watch the full thing then they need to go to Patreon. And then the second tier is £15 and you get a special like customised, you get the chance of winning a customised commission from me, whether that's a piece of clothing or a piece of sewing kit that's customised with Say and So logo on it, something that I've made myself, either on the videos or that I've just made for fun. And that's, you can, you know, that's like, I'm going to be like a monthly competition that I'm going to do to basically give away the things I'm making, because I have a flat full of crafts that I've made over the years. I don't know what to do with them all, so they just like sit. I know that I can give them away as presents and things, and I do. But yeah, I kind of feel like it'd be really fun to give them away. So I'm cutting out my merperson, and I'm just manoeuvring the paper as I go. So I'm not moving the scissors so much, especially when you're cutting on a curve like this. You can manoeuvre the paper, and that way you can get a really nice curve by just closing the scissors and cutting at the same time. And then the final tier on Patreon, the £30 tier, which I'm really excited about, is you get a special call with me. You get like a 60-minute, I mean, I say 60 minutes, we could end up talking for hours depending what the subject is. Yeah, like a craft call with me, or like a coaching call where I basically give you like an hour-long pep talk, if you so wish, around the topic of your choice, a craft topic or whatever you want to talk about, and that is, yeah, and then you basically get all of the rest of the perks that you would with the other tiers as well. And then I'll be adding more fun things to it the more the audience builds. Okay, so I've got my 2 pieces cut out, my tail and my man. There's also a bikini piece here as well, which I'm not going to cut out now because my merman, I think I'm going to leave him topless. He's a tap-saff merman, which is a phrase we say in Glasgow when the sun is, and maybe in Edinburgh too actually, when the sun is shining and everyone's like, quick, get your clothes off. A tap is a top, right? And aff means off. So tap-saff means get quick, it's warm, get your top off, expose your chest to the sun, because we don't see it very often here in Scotland. I've got my on-brand mermaid IKEA sealable pouch, and this obviously is for like freezing fish or whatever, but I love it because it looks like mermaid scales. So, which is perfect, so on brand for today's workshop. So Timmy Marvin, the merman, sorry, is blue. And my theme for this year for my Christmas tree, because this is what we're doing these makes for, is for trees and presents and things for Christmas. I think I'm going to make his tail this really beautiful like Kelly green colour, which I looked at on Tuesday when I was doing the Instagram and the Facebook, and I was like torn between this and the blue, and I chose the blue, and I think now it's time for this. It's time for the green. And because my colour scheme is going to be greens and blues, very like oceany, you know, tropical, watery. So it doesn't feel like December in Glasgow. It feels like December in the tropics. Okay, December in Bora Bora, which is where I'd rather be, let's be honest. Okay, we're gonna like fold over our fabric, because you'll notice on the pattern piece it says cut ×2, and we can cut out 2 separate pieces, but that's going to take a while, and we run the risk of making them a different size, right? Whereas if we were to fold over our fabric and then cut out 2 at the same time, saves time, and they're also going to be identical. And when you fold over your fabric, you want to be as economical as possible. Okay, we don't want to fold over like that and put the pattern right in the middle, because then we're going to waste all of this fabric. Okay, we want to be economical. So we want to just fold over slightly. And this is the same if you're making clothes as well. You want to be as economical and try and get your pattern pieces to fit onto your fabric as nicely as you can without wasting fabric, because if you make a mistake or something goes wrong, then it means you have spare fabric that you can recut your pattern pieces, which I have done so many times in the past. Excuse me. Because of my overlocker, right? When I first started making costumes and fashion items, I would accidentally cut off arms of garments with the overlocker, and if you don't know what an overlocker is, it basically cuts and sews at the same time, cuts off the hem. So I lost many a garment. So I would like try and be as economical as I could just in case something like that happened. And it means as well, if you have anything spare, you can make some fun accessories like scrunchies and things like that, or bags or things to go with your outfit, which obviously we like that. Okay, so you can see I've got my tail like on the paper, and there's just like, I'm gonna maybe give it a little bit of room around it to cut around. I'm gonna put it up as near the top as I can. I want to keep it like this and not like this. I could do it like that, but I kind of feel like it's more economical this way. I'm gonna get my pins. I'm going to put the pins in just before halfway, and I'm gonna pin the piece down on the fabric, and I'm gonna go through all layers with the pins. So I'm gonna put a pin, maybe like one here, one this side, one this side, one here, and maybe like two in the tail. I'll see how we go on. Susie, how are you getting on with your mermaid drawing? How's it looking? And when I put the pin in, I put the pin in just before halfway, right? Just before halfway. And then use my other hand or finger or thumb to carefully push and guide the pin, and just be very careful you don't stab yourself, and then push it up till it comes out the other side of the fabric and the paper. And this may take you a couple of times to get, and if your pins are particularly blunt, then you know, it's better to use a nice sharp pin. I'm all drawn, cut, and I'm pinning felt. Yes, you're so speedy, my goodness. Also, the best fabric that I really love to use for my crafts is this felt. It's polyester felt, and the brand that I use is called Edukit, E-D-U-K-I-T, and they're on Amazon, and a big box of maybe like, I can't remember how many pieces you get, like 14 or 15 pieces, is about just under £10, between £7 and £10 I think. Used to come in a really nice cardboard box, but now it comes in a baggie, which is fine. Okay, so get your pins and put the pin in again just below halfway, and you want it to make sure it's going through all the layers of paper and fabric. Use your thumb or your finger to push the pin up and push it through so it's coming out the other side, right? And that's how it should look. Practice this because it will take a couple of times for you to maybe get it. It's just hand-eye coordination. If it helps to not think about it, just do it, then I recommend that, because sometimes when you think about too much, think about it, you get stuck in your head, and then you're trying to figure out what you're doing with your hands, and your hands don't like work. So I'm putting 1, 2 in the tail to keep the tail. So I've got one there and one there. I've got one there, one there. I'm going to put one here and then like one here, and I think that should make it sufficiently pinned down on the fabric so that the paper doesn't move around while we're cutting out, which is what we want. We don't want the paper to move. We want it to be nice and secure, and we want to be able to turn it around and see the pins on the other side. Okay, perfect. Once we're pinned, we're gonna cut. If you're wanting to do your crafting, if you want to take your crafting more seriously, I highly recommend getting a pair of fabric scissors and use them and keep them just for fabric, because if you play rock, paper, scissors, you'll know that paper blunts scissors, right? So, and it's also useful to have in your kit is some Fiskars scissor sharpeners. These are amazing. I can't remember how much they cost, maybe like £20. They're not cheap, but they are a really good investment. And you just put your scissors into the holes, and you just cut the holes, and that sharpens the blades of your scissors, and they're really handy to have, especially because your paper blunts the scissors. A really good pair of fabric shears can cost from anything from £10 to £100. These are actually supposed to be paper scissors for fashion, for dressmaking, but and the real fabric scissors are like really big and really heavy, but they're too heavy for me. I can't. They actually hurt my hand. They hurt my wrist to use them, so I use the paper ones as my fabric ones. And then these ones are just like pound shop scissors. They're nice and long, and they're handy for like cutting out paper. I also have 2 sets of thread scissors. So I have a small pair of scissors, which I think are from Lidl or Aldi. They came in a set with a larger pair, which I don't know where they are. I probably left them somewhere whilst teaching, or someone borrowed them and didn't give them back. I've got a small pair, and I've got thread snips too. Thread snips are really handy, especially if you're a speedy stitcher. You can just like snip, and that's you're good. You don't have to put your hand in the holder to get them. The smaller scissors are also really useful for if you're cutting details and you don't, it's too intricate to get these in. And I'll show you what I mean in a second. So I'm gonna just start cutting out around the paper, trying not to cut the actual paper itself, because remember, paper blunts your scissor blades. So again, remember to keep your scissors like pointing away from you, really, and maneuver the fabric. So whilst you're cutting, whilst you're doing one cut, you can turn the full piece of fabric around in your other hand, and that means you get a really nice curve, and you're less likely to get like jagged edges, jagged bits of fabric that you've cut by accident, not by accident, but you've done lots of little snips, which will create jagged edges in your pieces that you're creating. So it's good to just do one nice single cut and maneuver the fabric around. If you get somewhere like a corner, or like here, you can see the tail has got these wavy lines. You can use your smaller scissors to get in there and cut the smaller details. And I'm really excited about being back on Patreon. My plan was just to do these classes up until Christmas, but I don't know, like I kind of want to continue, and I don't think starting real life in-person classes is going to happen anytime soon. And then I actually really enjoyed this because it means I can sit in my PJs and so can you. We can sit in our pajamas and sew together around the world, and I don't have to be anywhere, you don't have to be anywhere. We can just be cozy and sew, and yeah, and that excites me. The thought of that excites me. So you can keep your scraps for putting details, like if I was going to make the bikini top, I might want to use the bikini top, the pieces for the bikini, the shell bikini tops, or I could use it to stuff. I could use my scraps to stuff my make as well. And once you've cut out your pattern piece with all the fabric, you're going to take your pins off, remove the paper pattern piece, and then replace 2 or 3 of the pins back to hold the fabric together. We're going to hold the fabric together while we sew the pieces together, because that makes it way easier to sew. It doesn't mean that it's not going to move around and be wonky while we're trying to sew it. So I'm going to put 1 pin in there and 1 pin in there, like that. And I might put a pin in the tail as well, just because the tail's quite small and intricate and I don't want the tail to move around while I'm sewing it together. So let's put 1 in there, like that. It's perfect. Awesome. Okay, ready to cut out the body part now. The body of the mirror man. And I'm going to use some really nice dark brown for his skin, because I want this to be, I want my Christmas tree to be like a tree of equality. And I think I love this colour. This colour is beautiful. And I might give him like a sparkly vest or something. I don't know. We'll see how I feel. Right, I'm going to do exactly the same. I'm going to take my felt for the body of the mare person that you're making, and again we're going to fold the top down. If you're using an A4 piece, fold the top down. If you're using a larger piece, say for example I've got this 1/2 meter strip of felt, again I would take one of the corners and I would fold the corner down, and then I would pin my pattern piece, being really economical with the felt. I wouldn't fold it in half and put the pattern piece right in the middle, because that's going to waste so much fabric. You know, you're going to have to cut in, and you can get a lot of different makes and crafts and things out of even a 1/2 meter. Even an A4 piece, you'd be surprised how much you can get out of it if you're economical. Okay, beautiful. This guy's gonna look so good. Oh my gosh. Right, we need to think of a name for him as well. I'm going to pin down the body of my mare man, my mare person. And again, pin. I'm probably going to put a pin in the top of his hands there, just to hold that in place while I'm cutting it out. And I'm going to put a pin in his head to keep the head in place while I'm cutting it out. And remember, you're putting your pin in just before halfway that, and you're gonna see the other jaggy bit coming out the other side. Can you actually see that? It's right there. Use your finger or your thumb to really gently just guide, push it back up until it comes out at the other end of the fabric. So it goes through all layers, paper and fabric. Put one down here on his hand and his wristy, like that. And then I'm going to put one down here. There we go. So now I'm going to cut out around the paper pieces with my fabric scissors. And I'm just doing like one long cut and maneuvering the fabric. If you need to do lots of little snips, absolutely do that. The more you practice, the easier it gets to do one long snip and maneuver the fabric. What would be really fun is if I do the Patreon gets big, what would be really cool is to have 2 cameras set up and have like one from the top down view and then one like this, so you can actually see my hands and what I'm doing. And I know that you can get like a piece of kit, like a switchboard, where you can actually, when I'm running the video, I can manually switch between the cameras. I don't need anyone else there doing it for me, and I can do it live as well. We can switch between the cameras live, which would be so fun. Susie says, I have so much glitter foam. She's going to be a super spangly, sassy mermaid lassie. Yes, I love it. Glitter foam. Oh, I miss glitter foam. That stuff is amazing. I love a bit of Eva foam, whatever you want to call it. I've actually got glitter vinyl and, well, glitter wallpaper and glitter foam, and but it's not really foam. It's glitter foam, but it's not glitter foam. Here it is. It's like felt. It's like glitter felt. So it's like felty on the back. And this came from eBay, I believe. And it's really nice. It's quite stiff. although it's a lot easier to work with than the wallpaper, I must admit. I'm channeling Leah from my class who used as much glitter foam as possible and really she made it. Oh, amazing. Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah, there was a couple people in the Glasgow classes that used a lot of glitter and I was a big fan. Always a big fan. Just because it just looks so good, because you can hide you can hide all of your, you know, I don't want to use the word mistakes because they're not mistakes, design features. You can hide all of your, you know, mishaps and things that, you know, went accidentally, didn't mean to do that, or, you know, stitches that perhaps are slightly bigger than you meant them to be, or anything that's uneven. Just hide it with glitter. Yep. Just say that you meant to do that because you're going to hide it with glitter anyway, so. Okay, my guy, my merman is looking pretty good. I might fix that wee elbow bit there. Happy accidents. Yes, that's what Bob Ross calls them, isn't it? Happy accidents. I want to be the Bob Ross of sewing. That would be so fun. Yeah, be the Bob Ross of sewing / the Scottish Christine McConnell. You know? That's my life goals right there. Life goals and dreams. And live in a spooky haunted house like she does. Have you seen her house? So cool. Her mansion. She looks like a big like 1860s mansion in New York. It's awesome. Except I would live in a spooky mansion in Glasgow because we have plenty of like merchants mansions and houses and things, which are like completely falling apart, and they're you know, a big part of our history and heritage. So like all the Alexander Greek Thompson houses that are like, we've only got like 5 left in the city. Okay, there is my mare person. I've just taken the paper pattern off and I'm going to replace the pins again. So I'm going to put one up here up top and one on the arm down here, just to keep the arm and the hand in place. One on the other arm. And I'm going to start sewing the body first of all. I hope I have enough thread. I hope I've got matching thread. So there we go, there is my merman, there's my mare person. Let's start with him. I'm going to sew the body first. I'm going to stuff the body and then I'm going to sandwich the body into the tail like that, and then sew up the tail and then stuff the tail. Let's put him in that way. So he looks like that. Yay, go team. Okay, perfect. How are you thinking of names? What are you going to name your mare person, your mermaids? Susie, are you going to name it a Scottish name? Seeing as she's a sparkly, super spangly, sassy mermaid lassie. Right, thread, needle and thread. I'm going to use like a medium-sized needle. Something that's probably a little bit bigger that you might use, because I want to make it big enough to show you what I'm doing. So that's the size of needle that I'm going to go for. It has a pretty standard eye on it. Don't know if you can see the eye there. Nope. If I had a top-down camera, I'd be able to show you. Sadie, after a Suede song. Oh yeah, that's right, you said you were hungover today. How did you have a nice time at the gig? I didn't know they were playing. Were they playing in Edinburgh? Were they playing at the what do you call it? Rugby place. Meadow. What's it called? Or the Corn Exchange? Right. So I'm gonna cut my thread. So it's a really good place to start when you're cutting your thread is to pinch the end of the thread with your finger and your thumb, and you're going to measure out an arm's length of thread. Okay, from your hand, from your finger and thumb to your shoulder. that is the perfect length of thread to cut when you're first starting out, because if you cut too much thread, you're going to get all tangled up, and if you don't take enough thread, you're going to just keep running out and having to refill your needle, and it's going to just be annoying. And when you're cutting your thread, you want to cut it at a slight angle, and that means that the thread creates a point, the thread has a point in the end, and it's much easier for us to thread our needle. So we're going to hold the needle up to the light, and we can see the eye shining, you can see the light shining through the eye of the needle, and then keep the needle up, and we're going to just guide the thread through the needle, through the eye. And if it doesn't go through first time, then have a look on the end of your thread, because you might have a little tuft of like fluff or something on the end, and you might just need to trim it and try again. Remember, and cut your thread at an angle. And then we're going to join up the two ends, and we're going to tie a knot on the end. And this creates a nice and secure starting point for us. Tie a knot on the end, and that means we've got a nice, secure, strong piece of thread to start with on the hand sewing. And then the knot, I'm going to show you a really fun trick what to do with a knot. So Susie says, fabulous time. They were at the Usher Hall, amazing. Rolled in at 4 AM after the after party. Nice. Oh, that's great. So was the after party at the Usher Hall as well, or was it somewhere different? That's brilliant. Okay, so we're gonna start. We're gonna leave this end open. I'm gonna leave his like tummy end open so that I can get stuffing in there. So I'm gonna start from like here, and I'm gonna start like 3 millimeters to 5 millimeters from the edge of the fabric, and I'm going to put the needle through, pull the thread out, and then I'm going to, whatever side the thread is coming out of, I'm going to push the needle back in that same side, about 2 to 4 millimeters in distance from where that thread came out of. And we want to keep a little tail. We don't want to pull the thread all the way through when we're first bringing the thread through. We want to leave just a tail, an end hanging out, okay? Put the needle in a couple of mil next door to where the thread has come out of. Whatever side your thread's coming out of, we want to go back in that same side. Leave a tail, and then we're going to take the needle and we're going to put the needle in between the two threads in the tail. And we're going to pull it, and we have just made an anchor. And that thread is going to be so strong, it's not going to come out. And that's a really good starting off point. And then we're going to sew like every couple of millimeters. We're going to put in a stitch, pull it out, and then another couple of millimeters in distance. Put needle in, come out. Remember, whatever side your thread is coming out of, we're always going to go back in that same side. Otherwise, it's going to go around the edge of our sewing item, and that means that when it comes to stuffing our item, the stuffing's going to end up coming out the sides, which we don't want, and it's not going to be as secure. So going around the edge, unless you're doing like a blanket stitch, which is technically a decorative stitch, it's not as secure as this, which is a running stitch. So we want to go in a couple of millimeters apart from the last stitch, and then we're just going to do that. And this is a running stitch. Couple of mils next door, pull it out. Okay, it was at Banshee Labyrinth. Oh, where's that? That rings a bell. I was being good by people, but just kept buying me. I love it. Oh my gosh. We, Tyler and I went out on Friday night for Halloween. We went to Oranmore in the West End of Glasgow, and we saw like the tequila along the bar, and I was like, because we just had dinner at a Hanoi Bike Shop, which is really amazing Vietnamese restaurant in the West End. And we saw the tequila, and we just kind of looked at each other, and we were like, yeah, let's have a wee shot. Let's have a wee shot of tequila. Oh, it was so good. But like afterwards, I felt immediately like, oh, I have like, you know, it's amazing how tequila makes you feel like you are a superhero, superhuman. You know, I kind of felt like a different person for a couple of hours, you know, the old tequila confidence, you know. It was great. I really do enjoy Don Julio tequila. The Don. It's the Don of tequilas. It's so good. Don Julio. It's really tasty. I like a little bit of Patron as well, Cafe Patron. Patron, just a regular Patron that's not the coffee flavoured. Rose tequila is also tasty. Oh man, I know my tequila. I prefer tequila to Sambuca, but Sambuca is, you know, yucky. Okay, perfect. So we're just gonna go up the side of the body and we're gonna go up to the elbow, and I'm gonna just keep sewing up, but I'm not gonna go up and back down again. I'm probably just gonna do a single line of stitches up to the hand and then stop, and then continue from here all the way around the head, because I'm not gonna be able to get stuffing up there. Like, I don't have anything thin enough, and the gap, if I was to make a gap, it would be so thin, the amount of stuffing I would be able to get up there would be just pointless. So I'm just gonna do like a straight line, like all the way up to the top to the hand, and then I'll stop, and I'll show you how to stop as well, how to do the same. I'm just gonna continue up till I get to the top there. And then once we are up the top, up to the hand, I'll show you how to finish off a stitch, finish off a line of stitches before you, like, say for example you're running out of thread. You don't want to go till you're like, you've literally got no thread left. You want to stop about 5 centimeters when you've got about 5 centimeters of thread left on your needle. And you can keep your pins in as you sew as well, or you can take them out just as you get to them, because it can be quite hard to maneuver around them. Also, your thread may get tangled up in the pins, which is annoying. The fashion industry would have you think, or have you believe, that there's like set in stone concrete rules of how to sew, but I feel like you do it your way. You make up the way that you feel best to feel comfortable. Like, I have learned the official proper way of doing things, but then sometimes the official proper way of doing things can be kind of backwards. Like, it kind of feels like there's easier ways of doing it, you know, and I like a shortcut, I like a hack. So when you get to the end, say for example you've got like that much thread left, that's like the perfect amount of thread to finish off. And there's a few options of what you can do. You can cut the thread right here when it's at your needle, so say it's like here, cut your thread, separate the 2 strands of thread, and then tie a double knot in the thread right here. But what I like to do, I like to make a tiny stitch in the fabric, tiny stitch, and then pull the thread so it makes a loop, and then take my needle and go through the loop, pull it, and then do it another time. So go on, like, make a tiny stitch, pull the needle, leave a loop, go up through the loop with the needle and pull it. And I like to do it 3 times for luck. Or 3 times just to make sure that it's secure. Once, twice, 3 times a merman. There you go, so that's that. And then that's secure, and you can cut right where the knot is. Okay, just make sure you don't cut the knot, because then you have just cut your knot off and your stitches will come undone. And I've got enough thread here to probably continue on for a bit longer, so I'm gonna just tie a knot in the end and carry on. But if you've run out, then feel free to thread up your needle again by taking an arm's length of thread, cutting it at an angle, threading it up your needle, and then doubling up, tying a knot in the end. And I'm going to start again from like the shoulder, so I'm going to start from over here, and I'm going to do what we did before, which was pull the thread through with the needle through the fabric, leave a tail, sort of, if you can see that there, like the tail there, and then I'm going to go through the other side with the needle, and then this tail that I have hanging down, I'm going to take the needle and I'm going to go in between the 2 threads of the tail, and then that creates a beautiful like anchor in the fabric. And then I'm just going to continue on sewing on his shoulder and then up the side of his head, and then I'll probably stop. I need to fill up my needle again, put more thread on the needle when I get up to the top, but we'll see. And you want to try and stay maybe like half a centimetre, 5 mil to like 2 mil from the edge of the fabric, because if you come in too far, you're not going to have anything to stuff. You're just going to have like a flat mer person. And we want them to be quite, you know, we want them to be 3D. And if you go too close to the edge, I would say like a millimetre is probably too close to the edge, the felt can separate and it can, like, your stitches can fall out from the edge, which is no fun. So about 5 to 3, 4, 5 mil is like the perfect distance from the edge. Okay, so like that. It's kind of looking, it's looking good. So like all the way around there. Perfect. And be very careful, of course, don't stab yourself. I just did, but I'm so used to it that my fingers have calloused up now that I don't really feel it anymore. Next week we're going to be making Loch Ness monsters, because what's an underwater themed tree, Christmas tree, without Nessie? Got to involve all of our favourite characters, and one of my favourite Scottish myths is the Loch Ness monster. I'll be finding tartan ribbon or some tartan fabric because I want to make him a bunnet. I want to make him a see you Jimmy hat. I'm just going to embrace the stereotype. So again, I've run out of thread here, so I've just left a loop and I'm going to go through the loop, and I'm going to do that again. I'm going to go under the stitch, make a tiny stitch, pull the thread, leave a loop, go through the loop. Perfect. Yeah, I'm embracing the Scottish stereotype by making a Christmas Nessie. So that will be 6 o'clock on Instagram and Facebook, and then 6 o'clock on Tuesday, and then 6 o'clock on Thursday on YouTube. Yes. I wonder, I'm pretty sure that at some point, I think I might have been in Hobbycraft. I'm sure I saw tartan felt at one time, like printed tartan felt. It would be kind of cool to do a Nessie all tartan. It would be really tacky, but I think it would look, especially on a Christmas tree, with some glitter on him, you know. I might have to have a wee search on eBay for some tartan felt. Okay, so I have just, again, brought my thread through, left a tail. This is me starting again after replacing the thread, reloading my needle, left the tail. I've come out this side. I'm going to go back in that side with my needle. Remember, whatever side the thread's coming out of, always go back in that same side, and then go in between the 2 strands of thread of the tail, and that anchors it. If you're sewing like fine fabric, you don't need to do this as such, but I just like to do it because it keeps me, like, it keeps my trust secure that that when I'm stuffing it, nothing's gonna break. Felt, when it's made, felt's not woven, felt's like felted. It's like fibers that are glued together. It's not woven. So the felt, at times when you put the needle through it, it can create a hole, and whereas if you're putting your needle through woven fabric, the fabric, the weave will like tighten around the thread. Or if you put the needle through and it leaves a hole, that hole doesn't usually last. It usually disappears within a couple of seconds of you sewing. But because felt doesn't have warp or weft, which is the name of the weave of the threads in the fabric, if you make a hole with the needle, the hole tends to stay there. So if you have a knot that is smaller than the hole, then the knot of the thread will come flying out. And it doesn't matter if you've tied a knot in the end of your thread or not. So many knots. Which is why I like to do that anchor stitch on felt when I'm sewing. It saves a lot of heartache of having to go back after you've done a stitch, because if once you start stuffing and you know, the knot starts to come out the fabric and your fabric seam that you've just spent ages sewing starts to come undone, it can be quite gutting. It can be quite frustrating having to then go back and sew it all up again. And we don't like doing things over and over again. I like to keep it, you know, I like to keep it new and exciting. I don't want to do the same thing over and over again. Okay, I've just gotten to the end of the hand. So I'm going to, instead of going all the way back up the hand, I'm just going to finish and then start on the underarm again, like last time. Susie, how's your mermaid looking, merperson? I wish I could see you. I wish I could see how it's going. Maybe when we're doing the Patreon workshops, we could do like Zoom crafting when we do our monthly call with a crafter or with whatever we decide to do. And then that way we can actually see each other and what we're doing. That might be quite fun. Okay, I'm going to just continue going from the underarm down the side of his body, and then we're going to stop and I'm going to stuff the merman. And when I get to the end, I'm almost there. Going to stuff him, and then I'm going to like sandwich his body in between the tail pieces and then sew the tail together just on the face. I'm farting amazing. They're amazing. Awesome. I love a sequin. I've not had a sequin in ages. I actually looked at some. I was in the cotton print fabric shop in Glasgow the other day and I looked at sequins, but they weren't the best. They were like see-through ones, you know, and I was like, nah, they're not that sparkly. They're not great. Alex, next, my idea of amazing. Yes. Oh, you mean like for yourself, or do you mean for the merperson? So, or has he got one? Yeah, amazing. Okay, so this is the head. That's the body of the merperson. I know I got loads of sequins back in the day in the pound shop as well. I wish I'd kept them all. I think I gave them all away like when I was cleaning out. I've got stuffing, but it is from HelloFresh boxes. It's the packaging from a HelloFresh, and you can just like tear it up. I usually talk and breathe this in, so I'm going to try not to. Tear it up into small bits, and then you're going to just really gently place it inside the merperson's body, because remember we kept this end open, and then use your scissors or pen and really gently just guide the stuffing up through to the top of his head, because if you go too much, then your scissors could come out the other side and you could destroy your stitching, which is really frustrating. Yeah, the stuffing for bedding. Yeah, totally. I had a pile of it on the radiator, and Freddie was like asleep on it, and I think I'm gonna make him a bed out of it. I'm gonna make him like a Christmas teepee type thing. I need to go and buy like loads of red felt or red fabric and make him like a really cute little hidey hole. Although he's fussy, like whenever I've got him in beds in the past and never used him, he'd much rather sleep on my bed, you know, or the radiator with the towels on it. So I'm just really gently just guiding the stuffing in using the scissors. So you can totally make your mer person as plump or as svelte as you like. I'm gonna make my guy like built, you know, gonna make him nice and 3D. Okay, beautiful. He's looking good. I'm so excited about him, yay. I'm so tempted to give him like a sequin sparkly top. Okay, there he is. So as you can see, this bit here is full of stuffing. I can put a little bit more in the bottom there and the end of his torso. And then I will sandwich his body into the okay, so here we have his tail and here we have his body. I'm going to open up the two tail pieces and I'm going to just place his body inside like that. And I'm going to get a pin and I'm going to pin it closed and include his body into the pin, so all the layers, like the tail and his body pinned together. And just it's quite thick, so just be careful while you're pinning because you can jag yourself quite easily when you're doing this, like that. So I've just sandwiched in his body into the tail. And you can put it down as far up or down as you like. I actually think I'm going to change that slightly because he's a little bit lopsided. And there we go. Is he still lopsided or is that just me? Am I just imagining that? I might fix it in a second. And we're going to get our thread, our needle, and thread up. Then the thread is the same colour as the tail. So take off your old thread. And oh, found my seahorse. That's what we made on YouTube last week. It's looking super sparkly, love him. I've just realised as well that I didn't add on his loop for his head to hang him on the tree. So I'll do that after the tail. So if you have any string or anything that you want to use as like the hanger, like on these ladies, I have some wool, a piece of wool hanging from the top of them so I can put them on the tree really easily. I've got green embroidery thread that I'm using because obviously it's the same colour as the tree, so you can't really see it that easily. And I'm going to put it on. I would usually put it on whilst making the top, the head, but I forgot to do that, so I'll do that after, before we put the hair on. And I'm going to use embroidery thread to make the hair as well, because I used felt on Tuesday for Timmy Marvin, and I've used wool for these ladies for their hair. I've used thinner wool for like it's embroidery thread, but it's woolly. It's more woolly than embroidery thread. And then I used actual like chunky wool, and I sharpied the wool, put Sharpie on the wool, and then just kind of like teased it out a little bit to make it look like hair. So I think I'm going to use embroidery thread for this guy. But I need some thread, regular thread, for his tail, to sew his tail. And I don't actually have any like bright green thread. Okay, so again I'm going to pinch the thread in between my thumb and finger, and I'm going to just roll it out and cut an arm's length. Cut it on the diagonal to make a point in the thread, hold up the eye, guide the thread through the eye, join up the two ends. There we go. Trim off the excess. And then I'm just going to start, I'm going to start up here. I'm going to sew all the layers together up the top here. So put the needle in, a couple of millimeters from the edge, leave the tail, put it back through, and then go in between the tail, in between the two strands of thread. Remember, we've tied a knot on the end, so when we pull it, it makes a nice anchor. It like secures it in place. And then I'm just going to stitch across the body where the tail is and include all layers of his top half and the tail. And there might be a little bit of stuffing in there too that I include, but that's okay. So what colour of glitter should I use? I've got pink, blue, silver and gold for his tail. I may have green somewhere. But I've got the two other ladies I've got green. I've got one lady that's, two ladies have got green glitter on their tails. I've got one lady that's got silver and a man that's got blue. Should I put pink on this guy's tail? Or gold. Oh yeah, the gold's quite chunky. The gold glitter is fairly chunky. Okay, so you can see I've just done a line of stitches going across his body there, and that I've taken the pin out because that means that the body is now securely stitched, fastened into the tail. And I'm going to sew all around here, and I'm probably going to get to here or here. I'll see how much thread, I'll see when I run out. Whenever I run out of thread, I'm going to leave a gap because I'm going to use the gap, I'm going to stuff it. I'm going to leave a couple of centimetres gap because we want to stuff the tail as well. I don't want to sew up the whole thing. Right, let's do this. I'm going to stitch up the tail, I'm going to stuff the tail, and then I'm going to glitz him up, I'm going to decorate him. I'm going to give him hair, and I'm going to give him sparkles on his tail. He's going to look amazing. He's going to look so ready for Christmas, which is not that far away. Perfect. And of course, the more you practice this, the faster at sewing you're going to get. You're going to become a speedy, speedy stitcher. And you do it without even thinking about it. It becomes like, it's like everything, you know, like driving a car, riding a bike, reading, writing, walking. It's like, it's completely subconscious. And it's like, you do it like autopilot. You do it without having to think about what you're doing or where you're sewing or what you're sewing. It just gets so easy. S-E-W, easy. We've had almost 40 views of the video from last week on YouTube, which is exciting. And of course, I don't know if that's people who have like watched it for a couple of minutes or, you know, or who have watched the full thing. It's, I've not checked the YouTube analytics yet, but in the YouTube studio. Part of me doesn't really want to. I just want to be like appreciative and just be like, yeah, 40 people just totally watched my video, you know. I don't want to shatter the illusion that they've only seen it for a couple of seconds and thought, nah, don't want to watch this. And then come straight out of it. And of course, including all the tags and things in the videos is going to help people to see them a lot better. Or like, you know, they're going to pop up on people's YouTube feeds and things. So I'm almost at the tail and I've still got quite a bit of thread left. So I'm just going to go around the tail. Take the pin out. So you can see, doing some stitches all around here. I'm going to go around here and then I'll see what thread I've got left. Because when I run out of thread, that's when I'll leave a gap. I'll probably leave about a 2 to 3 centimetre gap, which will allow me to stuff his tail. And I probably won't get the stuffing up into the fin like up here as much because there's not very much space here, but we'll see. It's probably a slightly smaller gap than the neck on the top half, which I managed to get through with the pointy part of the scissors very carefully, very gently. I managed to guide it through. So a couple of things, I've got ideas for some videos, future videos for the Patreon, and that is like customizing clothes, jackets, shoes. So like buying cheap white shoes and using leather paint to paint patterns and things on them, customizing jackets, making patches, all of the things that I've been doing over the past couple of years for myself. And now I'm like, I'm pretty sure other people might want to learn how to do this too. And then of course accessing all of my amazing crafters friends who I would love to have come on and teach what they do. It would be such a pleasure having people come on and teach their passion. I've got a friend who is a potter, a ceramicist, and I would love for her to teach everyone how to make like slab pots, just using, or like coil pots, using like the cheapy clay that you can get in like the works and the craft shop, you know, like the air drying clay. That would be super fun because I did a lot of that during lockdown. I made a lot of like plant pots and things. It was really fun. I also got a miniature potter's wheel because if you don't know, I make miniatures, and that's something else I would love to do as well, is some miniatures workshops on how to make miniatures, how to make furniture out of balsa wood and things, and how to like find like cheapy, oh excuse me, find cheapy like doll's house furniture and then customize it, make it like shabby chic or make it like super fancy, because there's, yeah, so many things you can do. And I don't want to just do sewing. I want to branch out. Say it's called Say It Ain't So, but we're going to be doing like so many other things. Right, so I've got to the tail and I've run out of thread. So I'm going to leave my gap here, and I'm going to start probably from here, and I'm going to continue on around here and up, and that means I can get the stuffing into the tail, and I can also get it down here at the body. So I'm going to come in and back out, and then leave a tail, go in between the two strands of the tail of thread, and then continue on. I've got a nice anchor there. Gosh, sewing uses a lot of nautical themed words, doesn't it? Anchors and tails, and what other words can you think of that are like nautical themed? Knots. Yeah. Just stretching my legs out and not trying to knock over the camera. Susie, how's your mermaid? Give me some mermaid themed updates. Big respect to you for sewing whilst hungover. I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I could. I don't know if I would be able to like give up my energy for something that doesn't take as much mental energy, but it takes up quite a bit of mental physical energy as well, because you're like, you know, using your hands and fingers, and yeah, so props to you for stitching with me. Okay, so I've got to the end, and I'm going to just tie a knot. I'm going to do the knot technique again. I'm going to stuff his tail, and then we're going to close up the gap, and then we're going to pour all the glitter on him. In fact, no, we're not. We're going to do his hair first, And then the last thing to do is the glitter. Because if I was to do the glitter and then attempt to do his hair, I would make a mess and get glue and glitter all over myself. Which is, we don't want that. Okay, stuffing, mermaid. Remember I left the gap in the tail, so I'm just going to separate some really small strands of stuffing, and I'm going to start to just put it inside the tail and move it around so that it comes up to his body. So I'm just like gently using the scissors to kind of pull and push it up and in. And just be really careful when you're using the scissors. We can go live together on Facebook, so I can come on and join you on Tuesday. Yes, that would be fabulous. That would be so good. SEW, good. I've invited other people onto my Instagrams, but I've never done it on Facebook with more than one person. So I'll need to Google how to do that. Susie, would you be up for teaching us some like painting with embroidery, like painting with thread? That would be really fun. We could make patches or something, or even just like do some embroidery. We could absolutely think about doing that in the new year. That would be really fun. I wonder what everyone else is up to. I know that Margita, who ran the Glasgow class, she does works with polymer clay. She has a business where she makes amazing accessories like earrings and things. Her stuff's amazing. I would love to have her on and to teach us about polymer clay. Yeah, or plain embroider to start a type of stitches, etc. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you've got the cry cut. Oh, you've got a cry cut. Okay. Because somebody was asking me for, somebody who works in television, wink wink, was asking me about a cry cut because they needed one for a TV show, but I think they might have got it sorted. But it's good to know that you have one, because I can always get them, send them over to you in Edinburgh. Yeah, how is your cry cut? How do you like it? Because I would love one. I'm used to using like proper. You have two. Oh my gosh, what? Why? What? Do they do different things? Do they do the same thing? I'm used to using like vinyl cutters. So I have loads of vinyl left over from when I used to use vinyl cutters, but I don't have a cutter anymore. So a cry cut is something that I would love to invest in. I want a cry cut and I want a 3D printer. Those are the two things that are like on my list. I have a Joy and a full-size Air. Cool. Okay, my merman, his tail is now full of stuffing. I probably could add a little bit more. I think I probably will add a little bit more to make him sufficiently more stuffed. I feel like he could do with a little bit more. Let's do it. Because I think the rest of the gang are pretty nicely stuffed, so and then closing up the gap. How are we doing for time? Got a nifty 30 minutes to go. Plenty of time for decorating, for gluing and putting on hair and throwing down some glitter. The Joy is a wee portable, but the bigger one does cut and draw at the same time. Awesome. That's great. Cuts and draws at the same time. Wow, mind blowing. Oh man. Yeah, the vinyl cutters had a plotting tool on them, but I don't think you could draw or cut at the same time. But that's fun. that you can do that. Wow. Is that useful? That's useful, I guess, for making banners and things, isn't it? If you draw on it. Made a lot of t-shirts with the iron vinyl. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, remember we made, remember when were you there when we were doing the Edinburgh, was it at the Fringe or something that we did it in Edinburgh at the Meadow Park, whatever it's called, the Meadows. We did like some fun, we did like a fun sewing day out. It has its own design space to make the patterns. Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's got its own programs, doesn't it? Its own software. Yeah, the balloons, that's right. Yeah, and we made the t-shirts, or I made the t-shirts with the vinyl cutter and the iron-on transfer stuff. Iron-on vinyl. That was fun. Right, I'm just gonna leave it there because I could keep going, but I'm just gonna leave it. I'm gonna stitch up his tail now. And then I'm gonna think of what hair to give him. I could make him like a super trendy guy and give him like bleached hair or like purple hair or something. Pretty sure in the live video on Tuesday, somebody said give your merman blue and purple hair. And by that time I had just finished making the black hair on that guy. So I'll have a look at my embroidery thread, see what colours I have, because I might do blue and purple hair. Exciting. Right. Stitch this up and then we're ready to go. Yes, we're ready to finish off. Oh, you still got your t-shirt? Yeah, I've still got my t-shirt as well. I think it's in the bottom of a box somewhere. I don't know how long that vinyl lasts though, because it wasn't very expensive. I don't know if it lasts, like if it's got a restricted number of washes or something, I'm not sure. Yeah, because I made it with a proper a t-shirt transfer, oh, what are they called, the press, like a t-shirt press. Back in the day when I had access to all these kit equipment design tools. Back in my costume days. Tail is complete. Awesome. Oh, he looks so cute. He looks really good. Oh, yay. This is my sixth merperson that I have made since, I mean, I probably think I may have made more and given them away. So, which is, you know, 10 years worth of say 8 and sew classes and patterns and things, and I have made a lot of things, like a lot of things. Myself in a tangle. I've got my thread all tangled up. Occasionally this will happen and you'll be like, what is going on here? And I would say the best thing to do is not to panic. It's just to relax and take your needle through, like reverse your needle through all of the points in your stitches. There we go, fixed it. If you can, take your needle back through your last stitches or the knot itself. And that's what I love about this fabric, because sometimes the needle creates a hole big enough in the fabric for you to actually guide, oh, excuse me, guide it back through. Okay, let's do his hair. And I'm inhaling that stuffing, wadding, so I'm going to put it over there because my nose is really itchy. Thread, oh, I've got yellow. That would look fun. Okay, so we've got a whole box, my Celebrations box of lies that doesn't actually feature any celebrations in it. It's just lies. It's embroidery thread. And I had to write say it ain't so all over it, because otherwise I would get excited every time I see it and be like, yay, celebrations. Right, so we've got a little bit of purple here. We've got more green. I could give him green hair. I could give him blue. I've got kind of like lilac-y blue, lavendery blue colour. I've got, oh, this nice turquoise colour. That might look quite cute. Let's give him blue hair to match my blue hair. I don't have any, my hair is currently like royal blue, so I don't think I have any royal blue, or at least not that I can see. Oh, wait a minute, what's this? Found it. Yep. Okay, perfect. Giving my merman, blue hair to match mine. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the blue. I'm going to take like 3 different colours of blue, or 2 different colours of blue. Put the rest away. And I'm going to just like cut, like maybe like, what's that, 4 centimetres, 3, 4, 5 centimetres. I'm going to cut 5 centimetre pieces. Do you know what? No, I'm not. I'm going to like wrap it like that. Wrap it around my fingers. Wrap it around 3 fingers. Like that. And then I'll cut a bit. And then I'm going to stitch this down onto the top of the head, like that. I'll show you. I'll show you exactly what I mean. I'm going to get my thread. I'm going to use some of this blue. I'm not going to use other blue because that's quite too thick to go through my needle. So I'm going to take a length of thread in this blue thread, thread up my needle, double it up, tie knot on the end. And I'm thinking I might just use that one blue colour because although I do like them together, yeah, let's use them all. I'm going to put an anchor stitch. Nope, I'm going to make some tie. I'm going to make a tie to hang it from the tree with. So I've got, that's about 40 centimetres of embroidery thread, green embroidery thread. I'll cut that. And I'll double it up and tie knot on the end. I'm going to stitch this to the top of the head, and then I'm going to cover it with the hair. So the knotted piece, trim off any excess that you've got coming out of the knot. I'm going to do a little stitch right on the top of his head. Do a tiny little stitch. I'll anchor it. Cut off any excess. And then I'm going to get the knot and I'm going to stitch the knot down onto the top of the head, just with a couple of stitches. And that means I can hang the mer person from the tree. There we go. So it's like that. And then I'm going to take this piece that I wrapped around my fingers a moment ago. I'm going to like press it together and stitch that down like on top of the head. So it kind of looks like that, but obviously I will stitch it down so it doesn't, so it looks a little bit better than that. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the thread, the green bit out the top, and I'm going to cut, see the folds, see like how the edges are like folded, wrapped. I'm going to cut them so it looks like individual hairs. And I might stitch some of them down like onto the side of his head. Okay. And then you can decide like what side of the merperson is the front and which one's the back, because the front I want to have less hair and the back I want to have more hair. So this is gonna be the back. And I'm just stitching down. I'll do a couple of stitches and I'll show you what I mean. I'm just like stitching down the embroidery thread using the blue thread that I've just put in my needle. Like that. So I've just stitched down like over the thread, and then I'll go back up, and then I'll go like just a little bit at the front so he's got like a fringe. So he looks kind of like that at the moment, and then I'm going to just gather up some of this. And it's really amazing because every single one of these mermaids looks like a little bit different, which I really like. They're all just so unique, just like a real person. So he kind of looks like he's got a bow on his head right now, but we're going to fix that in a second. So that's how he looks at the front, and this is the bit, that's how he looks at the back. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just like trim. I'm going to cut these strands that are folded, because now he has actual hair like that. And I'm going to maybe like stitch a couple of them down in place. And this is when, like, you know, having more light, I'm going to turn my light up a little bit. Having more light is better to see what you're actually doing. So apologies if I've just blinded you there with my face. It's just so I can see what I'm doing here. I'm going to just stitch down a couple of these strands in place. Like that. So one side, he's got his hair like this. I'll probably stitch in a couple more. And then the other side, I'm going to do exactly the same. I'm going to cut, I'm going to trim the ends, like the folds where I wrapped it around my finger. I might even give him a little fringe. We'll see. Because that's what I did with this wool on these bits. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tease out some of this, the hairs, you know, the pieces of wool, just to make it look more like hair. And you can do that with like a pin or a needle or whatever. Cool. And I'm going to move his arm out the way because his arm is like up in the air and I do not want to cut it. Oh, he looks so good. I'm gonna need to give him his hair a little bit more trim because it's looking a bit crazy with all that, those strands, all those random strands. How are we doing for time? Oh, 20 minutes. Nicely done. Inhaling more fluff. Ugh, from that wadding from the HelloFresh boxes. And in my mouth also. Yuck. Okay. He's looking fabulous, I have to admit. I have to say. He's looking good. I'm just going to go all the way around and just stitch down his hair. I often go into TK Maxx because they have like a lot of Christmas decorations that kind of are like this, or even John Lewis as well. Like they often have like clearly handmade, but probably handmade in a sweatshop, Christmas decorations that are so easy to replicate if you just know how. It's the same as like the felted ones. Like in TK Maxx they do like felted tree decorations, like needle felted, and I love needle felting. Love, love, love it. It's not easy, you have to like practice, and there is a high risk of stabbing yourself with the needle, which is not fun because it's barbed. It's like a barbed needle and it really hurts, and it can be quite gory as well. But it's really fun, and so I might be on the lookout for someone who's a needle felter to come and like do a fun little workshop for us. That would be cute, that would be nice. Okay. I'm just gonna really quickly stitch down these strands of hair. And then I'm gonna cover him in glitter. I'm just not sure what colour yet. I was maybe thinking gold, but I don't know, because my other ones are silver. I've got quite a lot of silver on the other mermaids. And I'm kind of the person, you know, nail felter, oh yay. My dinner's here, so I won't finish before 8. That's all good, Susie. You know, a needle felter, that's fun. If you felt like putting out to them how they would like to come and run a fun workshop. Probably do it on Patreon because it's something that I would like, you know, I kind of feel like people would pay for or should pay for, especially if they're a pro, and I would want to like reimburse them for their time, you know. And I feel like that's what I would like to use some of the Patreon money for, is to pay for like crafters to come and teach us, you know. Right, that's enough playing with the hair. Okay, so that's what my guy looks like. That's what his hair looks like. I'm gonna use a pin. I'm gonna just like tease out some of those strands. In fact, I could just use the end of my needle. Amazing. He looks really cool. Okay, what colour of glitter do I use? I cannot decide. Oh yay, they did sew it. Oh nice, that's really great. They did sew and sew back in the day, and they have their own sewing business. That's brilliant. Did they have their own sewing business when they did say ain't so, or is it something that they've done since then? Might trim his hair a little bit. Gonna give him like a cut. So I'm gonna style it. I've decided I'm gonna style his hair. There we go. I've got like a kind of side parting going on. Amazing. I'm just gonna cut in here a little bit as well to give like his neck a little bit more definition without cutting my stitching stitches, of course. There we go. There we go, that's him. I'm going to stitch on maybe like eyes and a nose and a mouth as well. But I'm first of all going to glitter him. So let's grab the glitter. I've got gold, silver, pink, blue. I'm going to pack away all of my things. Let's pack away all of the scissors and the embroidery thread. I'm going to keep one pair of scissors actually, because I'm going to cut some glitter vinyl to put on his tail. I want to just, oh no, lost my needle. Okay, embroidery thread back in the celebrations box of lies. Susie says they did have a business, then they made that, then they make nerdy bags, purses, shoes and jewelry, needle felt it. Oh, love it. That's brilliant. Are they on Instagram or anything? Or Facebook? I would love to check out their page if they've got one. If you remember, if you feel like it, send me a little or like send me share their profile with me on Instagram. That would be great. Okay, I have a folder for all my patterns. It's been a beautiful crochet roll, hook roll with. Aww, aww, amazing. Brilliant. Fabric scraps you can keep or you can throw away. I'm not that precious about them because at one point I had bags and bags and bags of fabric scraps from the Say and Sew classes. R2D2, yeah, that's what I thought you meant. Yeah, when I was doing the classes I had like so much fabric, spare fabric, and I want to just avoid that ever happening again. So this is our other mermaid from before, which I hope the glue has now dried on. So I'm just tapping his fin to see if any excess glitter is coming off, the one that we glittered away at the start. He's looking very glitzy. His tail is looking so glittery. I'm obsessed with it. I kind of love it. So I'm just tipping off like any excess glitter from that's not stuck down to onto the glue, but it's perhaps like stuck onto the fabric, because felt can be quite static and it can stick. Especially because, you know, the glitter is also probably static as well. So although it's made from natural fibers, I don't know how static it will be. But anyway, it likes to stick to my face and skin and everything. So that's him, that's his tail now. It looks pretty good now, doesn't it, that I've used that other glue. I'll see how it lasts in terms of like, if it stays, what staying power that glue has for the glitter. But that was the tacky glue that I used. And I'm going to, because I did it on paper, I'm going to reuse the glitter. I'm going to fold up the paper, make a crease in the paper and just put it back into the box, into the tin. Cherry Trinket Designs, her fabric is amazing. Cool. Okay, so we have silver, pink and gold glitter. The blue and the gold are quite chunky. In fact, the gold is really chunky glitter. Like it's proper like big bits of glitter. The silver is very fine. It's like super fine. Very, very, very fine. You can see it on his hair, which I also used that clear glue, and I'm going to just probably redo his hair as well. And then the pink, I haven't actually opened up the pink yet, so I don't know what it looks like. Pink is about the same grade as the blue. So it's kind of in between the two. It's not too fine and it's not too chunky. The pink and the green, I feel like would be super amazing. But then also the silver and the green might look cute as well. I have silver on this blue mermaid. But then the gold would look cute too. This is the problem with crafting. Making decisions is tricky. So those are green, that's the silver one. Pink, I don't want to tip this up so it all falls out. Pink and green. Gold and green. Silver and green. I'll show you his hair as well actually. Silver might look quite cute. The gold. The pink. Or the blue. I mean the blue makes sense because his hair is blue. And I've got green, I've got blue with green glitter, so it might be fun to do green with blue glitter. But this guy is also blue, blue with blue glitter. I feel like I should just do the blue. I could do the blue on his main part of his tail, and then I could do like gold at the end of his tail, like the fin part. I was potentially going to do green or blue glitter vinyl on his tail, but I think I might do gold on his tail, and then that way, because it's like the chunky stuff. But the other mermaids have got silver on them, and I feel like I don't want to mix gold and silver. Oh, wrong one. Wrong lid. Right, executive decision time. I'm going to do blue, regular main part of the tail, silver, end of tail. That's what we're doing, decided. Okay, I'm going to get my glue and I'm going to do the exact same as I did before with the other merman, and I'm just going to do like a scales pattern using the glue. I'll start at the top. Make sure that the glue is actually going to come out of the... And then I'm just going to draw, really lightly draw scales, or as lightly as I can. Like that. I'll turn this down now, I don't need to see so much. So like that. And I'm just going to keep going down the fin. And when I get, oh, that's a big blob of glue just came out there. This is doesn't have as fine a nozzle as high tack, which is kind of annoying. But it's fine. We're resourceful, so we're just gonna make do. It's gonna make it work. It's gonna be covered in glitter anyway, so it's fine. Put loads of glue on the tail. And then come down the tail. Oh, this is gonna look really cute. So I was gonna give him like a sparkly vest. I wonder if I should give him like a gold vest, or if I should do the green or the blue glitter vinyl. I'm not sure if I'll have time to do it just today, and I'll need to wait until this glue dries. But keep an eye out on the social media, because I will post it. I'll post a picture of it once it's done. Okay, that is the glue, silver and green. I don't have any green glitter, Susie. I've only got blue. So I'm gonna do blue. This glitter, honestly, it goes everywhere. Right, I'm doing it. I'm gonna tip. I'm gonna really gently just tap the glitter onto the guy's fin on the glue. Oh, you mean silver and green? Yeah, I'm going to do green on the end of the fin. It was too in the glue moment there to notice your comment. Okay, that's the blue. Tap off. I'm going to tap off the excess. I was going to wait until it dries to do this, but I'm going to put the silver on straight away. So, it's kind of coming off a little bit at the top. Now I'm covered in glitter. Oh. Uh-ohs. This is the thing that happens when Iona starts to craft. She gets in a mess, but that's okay, because that's the fun, right? That's the fun of it. It's making a mess. The tidying up part is the not so fun part, but it's a very important part. And again, I'm just tipping the glitter back into its tin before I put the silver on. Put the lid back on securely, because I can imagine that I would be the kind of person that would tip up top of that, like the glitter would tip everywhere, and then my boyfriend will have a fit because there's a big glitter everywhere. Okay, and I'm just gonna tap the silver onto the tail. Yeah. Oh, I could put a little bit of silver. I'm gonna just tap a little bit of silver over the rest of the fin as well, and see if any of it catches with the blue. Right. Here's how it looks now. It's gonna look different once it's dried, because once the glue is dried, all the glitter will be like off. And it's you kind of can't really see the silver because the glue is white, but the glue should dry clear. I'm gonna set this to the side and let him dry. I might even put him on the radiator. And then I will do his face later on, and I'll post a picture on Instagram for you to see. And that's it. That's us at almost 8 o'clock. 3 minutes to 3 minutes to go. Thank you so much for coming to stitch with me. Next week will be Loch Ness Monster. It's gonna be Nessie. Susie, send me a picture of what your mer person, please, and if I have your permission to put it on the social media, that would be great. Or you can post it and tag me in it, and I will reshare it from there. And thank you so much for coming to stitch with me. Enjoy your dinner, and I'll see you very soon. And everyone else, I really hope you enjoyed this mer person sewing tutorial. There are links underneath the video for the Patreon, which I mentioned throughout the video, and you'll also be able to get the patterns for the other the things that we're going to be sewing over the next couple of weeks, and the things that we sewed last week as well, because we made a seahorse last week, which you can see here. Have a great rest of your week, have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you same time next week for another live sew along. Lots of love. Bye.